She'll be padding round the mountain when she comes. She'll be
Jova, she's not going round the mountain. She's swimming in a lake.
through the river, and it's padding in a driver, and it will be padding when it comes.
Pedro.
You know, I should retake piano lessons.
Yes, Shiroi?
Do a musical accompaniment with Jova.
We actually are.
Oh, never mind.
Don't worry, Shiroi. There's still more padding to come.
I will ask this question again later then.
Abby? It's Abby. Shit.
Shoot her! Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
I'm getting a bit ahead of myself.
Sorry, Edwes, we're not so lucky. That would be you if you were guarding the hospital. Oh shit, the person!
wait, who did we just shoot? Abby. Yay!
Drinks are on me!
It's like that bit in The Simpsons where they pull down Mr. Burns' sunblocker, but they crush a town. When they hear it's Shelbyville, they start cheering.
Yeah, you'd love Brown movies, Dwebs. There's literally a scene in Werewolf in Sturba Werewolf Bitch. Yes, that's the name of the movie. So, Howling 2, Sturba Werewolf Bitch.
AKA, help! My sister's a werewolf.
All right, so what's happened?
That's the thing, Jova. Sturba Werewolf Bitch is a far better name. Far better name. But anyway, where he's basically telling Christopher Lee, you stay away from my sister. And then suddenly the sister starts moving and he literally shoots her because you...
Okay, now sure, you think it should be relatively simple, just get the medical supplies we need.
Accidental kills that should be tragic but are hilarious.
No, it's not so much that. It's more so the fact that in Red Brown movies, he basically kills anything that moves.
Hi, guys.
Go ahead, Jova.
Now, sure, Dreams, you think that it should be simple, we just gotta get some medical supplies from these guys, and then we head back, right?
Well, it's The Last of Us Part 2. So
Unfortunately, the game thinks it's time for a boss battle, so it's going to create an excuse for us to go down into the bottom depths of the hospital, where the infected are.
Yep.
They got you all the way out here?
Oh, look at that, Shiroi, doggo.
Don't worry, we didn't kill this dog.
Of course you didn't. Well, they're not attacking, so
No, Abby doesn't kill. She's like bloody North. Everyone talks about how perfect she is, like in that scene in North. North always brushes his teeth, or in this case, Abby always looks out for people. Abby never kills cats and dogs. Seriously, it's like bloody North, except well, okay, maybe not as offensive.
No. With North, they were going to be making him out to practically be Jesus in his own.
No, North is incredibly racist and insensitive, though. Like, it's not that much of a slouch.
I mean, I get that he's a kid, and that whole dream sequence was, him, he's, thinking what other cultures must be like for his uneducated mind. But apparently, he's also supposed to be an uber duper super genius and very good at everything. So you think he'd be more aware.
Look at that, guys. It's the Asian gamer that we killed as Ellie.
Again, she looks similar to a lot of other NPCs, so it's hard for me to care when the game makes such a big deal.
All really is that she's a gamer.
So yeah, Abby's been gone for a whole day now. So Isaac is mad that she disobeyed him because remember Isaac forbid her from leaving the headquarters until the invasion. So yeah, she's being taken back to the headquarters.
So finally, she gets called out for something, but it's not for how her vengeance really brought on a detriment to things. Like, that's the thing. Everything bad that happens to Abby is mainly because of her supposedly doing the right thing. So we're supposed to side with her.
Hey, Nora.
Look forward to killing you, bitch.
I never thought I'd see you on Isaac's bad side.
I mean, well, like Shirei said, Nora is a pretty terrible person considering her interaction with Ellie.
She literally, well, remember, Joe, but even Ellie herself called her a fucking cunt. So.
What happened? Compartment syndrome.
So it's thanks to Nora that Abby can now go free.
You're not treating him, are you? We don't have a lot of time. Jesus. Most of these supplies have been packed and shipped already.
Whoopsie! What a shame. Didn't get here in time.
We haven't cleared out the lower floors yet.
There you go. We have to go to the lower.
Yep.
We have to go to the lower floors.
Yeah, probably, but it's rough down there.
As we've learned in Ellie's campaign, that's where the spores are.
But you'll notice in Ellie's campaign, you know, while there were infected down there, apparently they were more willing to come down after us.
Yep.
Now, why is that? Well, we're going to find out with Babby's part. Again, Abby is, reminder, Abby's doing all this just for a woman who she literally met and has not known for even full 2 days.
Not even a full day
Why?
at this point, Joe. Remember, like, we have yet to reach the 24-hour mark ever since she was saved by Yara. So no, she hasn't even known her for a full day yet. And remember, she spends the entirety of day 2 not even talking to her
I still got boxes on the
because she's away with Lev.
Two them first.
Oh, look at how nice Nora is, Shiroi and Dweebs, how she looks out for Abby. Don't you feel terrible about killing her?
No. All right,
I'll
that's
take your silence as a no.
exactly. Very good. Well, Debs is most likely just bored, and Shiroi is already checked out at this.
Honestly,
I have already expressed how bored I am, but yes, to
yeah, honestly, I'm more interested in checking out this new Monopoly Pac-Man game.
Yeah, we're looking at Pac-Man Monopoly at the moment.
So
Hey, have I ever told you about the Mrs. Monopoly board game?
Never mind that, Joe. I've got this Monopoly game where, you know, if you get sent to jail, you have to wear a handcuff and a chain to the board.
Well, get this, with Mrs.
Oh, wow.
Monopoly, Mrs. Monopoly is
all right. These floors have the ICU.
basically written to be a stance where girls have
I've
the
heard
advantage.
of that one.
You see, basically, if you're a girl, you start with more money than the male players, and also when you pass go, you make more money than the male players do.
Is there a Sonic
so-
Monopoly?
Yes, there is.
But there's
Yeah, 'cause I
Monopoly and
wanted
everything.
to-
I once owned a copy of Monopoly Steven Universe, but yeah, then it's really.
I had the regular Monopoly and one where instead of money you had like chocolate, which was weird.
Can I have? Do you know where that one is? I want it.
No. I wanted the
Aw.
Sonic chess set at least.
Wait, may your survival be long, may my death be swift. What, is that like a saying among the wolves?
I think that's their motto.
Yeah, it is.
Shame we don't-
We actually heard it before, Jova. It's kind of their thing where every time they say farewell, they say, "May your death be swift." And no, sorry, it's something. It's basically just a little send-off thing that they have.
I mean,
Congratulations, guys.
it's common. It's
Guys, I think we found it. We found another problem with the padding here. There's so much padding that it's easy to forget about certain plot points here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I kind of forget plot points even in good movies sometimes.
Well, okay.
Well, you're an exception to the. You're an exception, though, Dwebs. Job is talking about people who are capable of remembering things more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know, normally I'm good at remembering the plot details of something, but because we've had so much padding with stuff that really didn't need to be a thing, I think I can be forgiven for forgetting a saying that was said, like, maybe once or twice until this next time through, God, at this point, hours of gameplay. Like, again, it's really about to pick your poison here. Either have a plot that should have been over and done with Ellie's, but conveniently just gets the goalpost shifted, or deal with Abby's campaign where you're technically doing so much for what is essentially a menial task in the grand scheme of the plot.
Mm-hmm.
So, which would you rather have?
Can we have The Last of Us Monopoly?
We can have again. I'll just let the devil come and choose for me.
You have been bitten by a zombie. Go to jail. Move directly to jail. Do not pass go. Now collect $200. In fact, you can't pass anything because you're dead.
Yeah.
May God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah. One of my favorite jokes from Ace Ventura 2 is is that when he sees that guy whose wife is wearing a fur jacket, you know, a live fur of an actual animal, and he starts, you know, antagonizing the woman because Ace loves animals. And then they're like, and then the guy's like, who? And the guy has a monocle, by the way. Who is this disgusting, rude man? And Ace is like, Ace Ventura, a detective, and you must be the Monopoly guy. And then he punches him, and then after he brings him around as wears him as a fur to show to the wife how, see, it's not as fun when I'm doing it with your husband now, is it? And then he brings around like a doll. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. It's I'm so glad Jim Carrey is back on the limelight.
I know, right? Seriously, the Sonic the Hedgehog movie really brought out the cartoonishness in him.
Like I said, well, that's the thing, Joel. Jim is basically a human Looney Tune, so
Pretty much, yeah. I get more enjoyment talking about him than I do about this game.
all right.
So yeah, essentially we need to find supplies down here.
Ooh. Okay.
Now
this, and not just the boss at the end. Now this area is very Resident Evil-ish.
Definitely. You know, the whole secret basement laboratory level. Yeah, that's very much a Resident Evil trope. Don't get me wrong, I love me some uh-oh.
That's okay. It's just a mechanic that's grew from the first game, where sometimes you have to beat the little flashlight a bit because, you know.
Yeah. Like I said, now, I don't mind some reference to Resident Evil. I love that series. Resident Evil, if you were to ask me, is still pretty much the okay, Resident Evil is pretty much, the de facto means of doing survival horror in genre in the game stuff. Like, a lot has taken from Resident Evil, and it pretty much did, revolutionize the genre. So, a little bit of a reference to it, I'm fine. And like I said, I even like the boss. That said, your mileage may vary on if the boss is quite possibly the most epic part of this game, or the point where the series jumped the shark.
Alright, let's see.
I guess you could say it's something of a natural evolution, but as far as I know, there's no explanation for how the heck that evolution comes about. The only thing that is stated is that it takes 20 years for it to occur.
Mm-hmm.
How they know is beyond me, but yeah, 20 years.
Come on, I know you want to jump at me. Do it! Do it!
Just do it.
Give me something. Nada.
Sorry, Abby, gotta go in
Nada.
further.
Random Spanish word for some reason.
Well, Pedro, would you how would you feel if it was random Portuguese?
I would feel the exact same. What a random language switching for no reason.
What is Portuguese for no?
Well, actually,
or not nothing. Sorry.
the same thing as Spanish. Nada.
Is it pronounced differently?
Actually, no. It's actually one of those words that we pronounce basically the same. Yeah.
Yeah, because one thing I know about a difference between Portuguese and Spanish, I learned it off the Weakest Link of all shows, is that how in Spanish when you say goodbye you say adios,
Yes.
but in Portuguese you say adios.
Adeus. Yeah,
Adios,
it's one of those. Again, it's one of those things where it's very hard for English native people to do the Portuguese pronunciation, because it basically the Portuguese pronunciation basically is done radically different in the way the English language pronounces words. So it's very hard for an English speaker to adjust.
Yeah.
I've met plenty of old British people who have been retired here for years at this point, and they're fairly good at talking in Portuguese, but there's always that English accent there. Like they can, like it's very hard for that's what I've seen, like from personal experience. It's very hard for English speaking people to break that pronunciation barrier, because it basically requires ignoring everything they've been taught since birth. Basically, it's really hard.
I know the feeling. I've been. One of my ambitions is to learn another language. Mostly, about my aim is French. But French have a different way of speaking compared to us, so require learning a new way of speaking French. I apologize to the nation of Portugal and Brazil and any other Portuguese-speaking countries for butchering the way you say goodbye.
Nah, it's okay, Webs. Don't worry, nobody cares. Like seriously, if you go to Brazil and pronunciate things badly, they'll just go, "Oh, this guy's clearly foreign," and that's literally as much thought as they'll put into that. Trust me. Like,
foreigner.
No, it's no. Don't worry about it. People in my culture and even Brazil are not as sensitive as you may think.
Yeah. I mean, that reminds me actually. One of our WWE 2K playthroughs, where for some reason it didn't. When I made the title belt for us, and yet for some reason it didn't have the Portuguese flag, so I had to sub in the Brazilian one.
Hell, Dubs, there are Portuguese people themselves who are kind of uneducated and pronounce words of their own language badly anyway. So we ourselves do it anyway. So we don't really have much. So we don't really have much room to in getting on your case because of that. Go ahead, Joe.
So yeah, might as well read an excerpt from TV Tropes regarding the padding of this game. Okay, padding. One criticism of the game is that many of the flashback sequences don't feel like they are necessary to the main plot and in fact hurt the game's pacing. Like, that's, what's the sad thing? Like we said before, the flashbacks were technically some of the better moments of the game, but they're right. The flashbacks do not really help the game's plot in any way, and the game would have been just as well off without them.
Exactly.
Jeez, that says something. As for another bit, several of Abby's segments of the story have been criticized for this due to how many branch away from the main story and either attempt to focus on a different character or make Abby herself more sympathetic after the fact. A Kotaku expose on the game's crunch culture noted that one character in particular went for extensive rewrites due to the playtesters unanimously hating them, which players post-release speculated was Abby due to how ham-fisted some of her segments were. So there you go, guys. For all we know, a lot of the stuff to make Abby likable might have been stuff that was put in last minute because, oh, what a shock, playtesters unanimously hated Abby.
Well, remember, Jova, there was a...
Did Neil break into the room and yell at them for how sexist they were being?
Actually, Dwebs, yes. Dwebs. Solid Ref on YouTube even covered this, where there was apparently a beta...
I was kidding!
That's the thing. Sorry, Dwebs. Sorry, Dwebs.
Reality.
Sorry, Dwebs. But yes, apparently there was a beta tester for this game that was fired because he was quote-unquote sexist. My guess is he questioned what was being done with Abby, and as a result, Neil probably got mad.
Now, according to the expose that Kotaku made, the infamous one that pretty much exposed the crap development of this game, yeah, apparently beta testers unanimously did not like a certain character. And considering how most of the stuff seems to be circled around making Abby supposedly more likable, I would put down good money that Abby was the character who was unanimously hated.
Yeah.
Because, okay, if we didn't have all the sympathetic stuff for her, all that's pretty much left to her name is that she killed Joel and got away with it scot-free. Like, holy Christ.
Basically, yeah.
And maybe the takeaway should have been that Abby's just not a good character, and we should completely restructure her character. Now, granted, maybe the game was too far in development, so they were probably damned if they did, damned if they didn't, but surely they could have taken some time out to actually restructure her character so that it
should not have been a Last of Us game.
Nope. This
Yeah,
game
it
has
really
no
shouldn't
this
have.
game. This game has no business being a Last of Us game.
And from what's to be understood, they had warnings that people would respond this way from the beta testers, but they just kept on trucking anyway.
Remember what Troy Baker said: keep an open mind.
Well, Shiro, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If he genuinely believes and he genuinely stands for what this game is, if he genuinely believes the game is good, like because my only explanation is that he's very proud of this game in particular, and that's fine. Okay, he's allowed to.
We've already had our own controversy regarding Troy Baker with this game.
To be fair, Troy Baker didn't go around calling people homophobic or transphobic or racist or whatever. So he only got a bit ticked off in a general way because he felt like people were being a bit too harsh, but that's it.
No. The problem was when he resorted to the old typical, "Oh, you're not a game developer, so you have no right criticizing game developers." That is something he is guilty of, and that's a big no. What's worse?
I feel like he said that after he reached a point, though, because that was one of the latter things he said.
Yeah,
that was still.
So I don't know.
And what's worse, he tried using a quote from Theodore flipping Roosevelt to try and get it. It's like, no. Just don't.
No. Now that's the part that really annoyed people, and of course it did.
Yeah, I'm still not gonna go. I'm still not gonna go into the Troy Baker is now a bad person thing because
I don't think he's a bad person.
Like that only tells me that he's not perfect.
Well, no, I mean he's just bad at handling
criticism.
Yeah,
it's like I said before, which baffles me as an actor. I mean, I wonder how he reacts to people trying to direct you to do.
Well, people weren't criticizing his acting.
Well, here's the thing.
I meant taking criticism in general. I mean, as an actor, sometimes you perform a scene wrong, and the director tells you, what I was looking for, do it this way. I dread to think Troy Baker's that kind of person.
Need I remind you how many times it took them to film that one scene from the first game?
Well, look at it this way. Look at it this way, Dwebs. He didn't complain when people were hating on the Final Fantasy XIV trilogy. Not that we've heard or seen anyway. Maybe this was one case where. But maybe because the criticism was so overwhelming and he's not used to dealing with this, because outside of the 13 trilogy, he's been in a very strong track record of good games. Maybe it's one of those cases where he wasn't expecting this much harsh criticism, and he wasn't able to. Hopefully, with this experience, he's gained enough of a thick skin so that next time this happens, he'll be able to react better.
That said, there is the other possibility that maybe he's gotten too big for his britches, being in all this great stuff. Whereas, with 13, he was a relatively new face, so I could see why he wouldn't want to put himself out there as much. Whereas I don't want to assume that this is the case, but there is a chance that this might be a case of him getting too big for his britches. Not that, we really need to go too much into this, but yeah, it just really goes to show almost everything having to do with this game is a mess.
Sure.
Honestly, I don't think that's the case, because Troy's been a pretty big name in voice acting for quite a few years now. Because when you think about it, 13 was a long time ago, and he's always seemed, pretty chill and pretty reasonable. I think this is the first time I've ever seen him act out, shall we say?
So what I propose is we wait. Let's see how he Let's see how things turn out in the future. Like if this turns out to be one isolated case, then that's okay. We're not perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Now speaking of now let's go to an easier target about this. The game itself, mind you. Once again, we're in about padding here. It's like you have to wonder, why was there even this much amount of crunch? Like, you have to wonder, was the crunch because to add on all the extra segments?
I can explain that, Joe, but remember, the ex-employees at Naughty Dog that talked about this said that there was a mass exodus because a lot of people were uncomfortable working on this game. Gee, I wonder why. And because of that mass exodus, and it's because of that mass exodus that they had to delay the game and even crunch to make sure the game would come out on time and ready.
So So when you get down to it, this is the game that effectively crushed Naughty Dog in both soul and roster.
Exactly, but
Wow.
my guess is most of their art team left, and we got a lot of new artists, and that's probably why this game feels like it was made by inexperienced artists, because it doesn't look nearly as good as Uncharted 4.
It's like, again, what a disappointment this game is. Like, maybe again, you know what's amazing is that there were all these multiple signs, the mass exodus, the response from the beta testers, you know, the initial response to the blipping trailers, and how some of them weren't that great. But no, they kept going on with this motivated way they wanted to do it, probably thinking that, oh, people will love and enjoy it in the end. We're Naughty Dog. We can't possibly fail.
Yeah, according to
So what? Is this going to end up? Cyberpunk 2077 now?
yeah, according to
Because apparently CD Projekt Red are also apparently using crunch.
according
okay. Crunch does not effectively always hurt someone. If crunch is, done voluntarily, maybe it's somewhat better. Crunch time is not immediately something that's bad. It's just that more often than not, when you hear the term crunch, it does tend to lead to a lot of.
I can actually bring up a
honest.
positive example. But go ahead,
Well, I'll be honest. Every time I hear the word crunch, I keep thinking of those crunchy bars.
Captain Crunch.
But
Actually, no, it's a different kind of crunch. I'll explain later. Go on, Pedro.
A good example, because we can see this through the Into the Unknown documentary, is during the making of Frozen 2, where there was intentional crunch, on part of the animators. Like the animators are not forced to work after hours, but the supervising animation director for Elsa, after going home and taking care of his family for a bit in there, he decided to, after his wife and after his son is now in bed and the wife is basically almost to the point where she's going to go to bed, he decided to go back to the office to work a bit more, and he even said to the cameraman who was filming him, the great thing is that I love this, I love animation, so just working on this is great for me anyway. So it's one of those. So it was an intentional thing. Like he himself.
Yeah, that's the thing. As somebody who's because Pedro's seen the whole thing, I imagine, but I've only seen a few episodes of the documentary because it is quite long, and they're doing a lot in just a few months. But the smiles on everyone's face, they have genuine joy for what everyone has genuine joy for what they're doing on that team. And it's not like, the corporate plastic smile kind of thing that some people might be thinking of. It's like, no, people are genuinely enthusiastic about this project.
It does come across as genuine in a lot of ways.
It really does.
Another good example is also Ace Attorney, where Yamazaki was incredibly tuckered out after the development of Ace Attorney 5, but because he legit enjoyed it, and when he saw how many people actually liked Ace Attorney 5, that actually inspired him to come back for Ace Attorney 6. Mind you, at that point, he learned to properly have a more bigger team so that he wouldn't have as much strain on himself. But I digress. That is an example of crunch time done relatively well.
But Jova, we hate the Yamazaki games, and we can't wait for Shu Takumi to come and save the series.
Yeah, because Shu Takumi wrote stuff perfectly before.
Don't get me wrong. I would love to see Shu Takumi come back too, but we don't even know if he'll be coming back.
Plus the way some people phrase it, people say it as though Shu Takumi never had any problems.
Yeah, that's bullcrap. If the original trilogy had problems too.
And before you say Ace Attorney 2, there were other problems that were entirely of Takumi's making, not Capcom forcing stuff on
Sure. Even 3 had problems here and there. It's always been a thing with the series anyway.
I hate Case 3 from that game, for example. Go on.
It's more so the fact that I still do not buy this narrative that a lot of Ace Attorney purists are trying to force on the internet, that Ace Attorney was never good after 3. I'm sorry, no, that's just not true. Sorry. Ace Attorney Investigations 2 is awesome in particular. So.
Oh, yeah. Hell, even purists like that one. But anyway, Hey, look, there's another thing that's more interesting to talk about than Last of Us 2.
Ace Attorney.
Everything is more interesting to talk about than this thing.
Maybe if this game would get to the point and not pad stuff out.
Hey, Shira, a question. I have a question, because you said you were bored very frequently than that game too. Which game is more boring, this or Fair Fence Ref to you?
This.
Yeah.
Fair Fence Ref was at the very least offending you.
Yeah, Fairy Fence F made me feel something. Even if I didn't like how I was feeling, I felt something.
If I'm actually going to play an advocate for the other side,
Go ahead.
at least this game doesn't loop 3 times and barely changes much of anything of import.
True.
That's honestly the thing. Even with Fairy Fence Ref looping around, it felt like more got done. Like,
It
holy
does.
Like, again, more stuff got done. And, like, okay, here's the thing. If you go for just the one route, Fairy Fence Ref will be done quicker than this game because it actually gets to the point. This game, on its own, mind you, okay, for comparison's sake, our run of Fairy Fence Ref was like, it ended in the 60s. This is all one route on its own, and it's going to probably go to the 40s at the rate we're going. So, yeah, there'd be a pacing problem. Maybe if there was stuff that was happening, but as I think we've established well at this point, stuff takes forever to happen. Now, tune in the next part for the amazing boss encounter, which admittedly, a lot of people do like about this game.
Not me. Like I said, it's just kind of face palming, jumping the shark thing. But anyway, so yeah, all right, everybody. Next part, the game and the series in general officially jumps the shark. See you then.
See you then.
See ya.